It's a beautiful frame. These guys are doing quite nicely.
Buzz.
Four weeks ago, I installed the new packages. When we checked on them 2 weeks ago, they all had eggs and larvae, but no capped brood yet. We left them alone for 2 more weeks, and now it's time to see how they're progressing. Before we start, remember that it takes 21 days for a worker bee to emerge. That means that for the first 3 weeks, new colonies actually get smaller. At 4 weeks, your colony should have about as many bees as you started with. If all goes well, the population will double in the next 2 weeks. Today's task is to determine the size of the brood nest. There are eggs in most of those cells. Not on this side, but that means she's stretching the brood nest out quite nicely. So now we're just going to come over and look at the other side. You don't have to look at each frame. From above, you can see which frames have the most bees on them. Pull one from the outside of the cluster. If it has eggs, pull a frame from the other side of the cluster. If it also has eggs, you can assume that all of the frames in between also have brood. And on both sides. It's a beautiful frame. These guys are doing quite nicely. And on one frame over, we will take a look quickly. They're not happy in the cold. And quick glance for the queen. Another really nice frame. Let's take a look at those guys. They're doing great. And we're going to put them back together. There's even some capped brood on this next frame. So they're doing quite nicely, other than being mad about being opened up in the cold, which I don't blame them one bit. So we're going to put them back together. If I find brood on 4 to 5 frames after 4 weeks, I know they're on track. Let's look at one more. They are not happy at all. Wow. Very not happy. Very not happy. Whew. Guys, we'll be as fast as we can be. It didn't look like this when we put it in there. Now they're tearing out the wax and redrawing it. I don't know that I've seen that before. Lots of capped brood. I'm gonna see how far over it goes. Ooh. Could have been drone comb. And there are, yep, there's a little bit of drone brood and some worker brood. There are eggs and larvae of different stages in there. All in all, they're doing quite nicely. So we're going to close them up and leave them alone. So these colonies are doing just fine. I only showed 2, but all 3 have about 5 frames of brood. I'll check them again in 7 to 10 days. At that time, I think they'll be ready for another box. As always, thanks for watching, liking, and subscribing.
Zzz.